Chanel has blacklisted Meghan Markle from all of its stores, not just in one country, not quietly at a single boutique. According to people familiar with the situation, the decision applies globally. Meghan is no longer welcome inside Chanel locations, no longer afforded private appointments, and no longer treated as someone the brand wants anywhere near its image. For a house as disciplined and historically rigid as Chanel, this kind of move is rare. When Chanel draws a line, it does not erase it later. Behind the scenes, Meghan is claiming this is proof she's been targeted all along. She's telling associates that Chanel bullied her during their collaborations, undermined her ideas, and ultimately turned on her when she stopped playing the role they wanted. In her version of events, this was never a professional disagreement. It was a deliberate attempt to shut her out of fashion entirely. According to Meghan, the tension began early. She claims Chanel executives dismissed her creative input, ignored her suggestions, and treated her as decorative rather than substantive. Meetings, she says, were one-sided. Ideas were nodded at and quietly shelved. She now insists she was never meant to be a collaborator, only a compliant figurehead. And once she began pushing for creative control, the atmosphere shifted. She tells people the shift was immediate. Less access, fewer meetings, decisions made without her. Conversations that once felt cordial became transactional and cold. Meghan now frames the lawsuit not as a legal necessity, but as a message, a reminder of hierarchy, a warning that she had overstepped. From her perspective, Chanel's legal action wasn't about protecting a brand. It was about protecting authority. She has reportedly floated the idea of countersuing, claiming professional harm and reputational sabotage. But people familiar with the legal landscape say the plan never gained traction. Chanel did not react emotionally. There were no public statements, no negotiations, no concessions. The response was silence. And silence in luxury fashion is power. That silence has echoed everywhere since. One moment now being widely whispered about involves a Chanel boutique in Beverly Hills. According to retail insiders, Meghan attempted to enter expecting private treatment. Instead, she was stopped by security and informed the brand would not be engaging with her. No shouting initially, no argument, just refusal. Witnesses say she froze, then unraveled. According to those present, Meghan immediately called Prince Harry, pacing outside the store. Visibly shaken and furious, she reportedly insisted staff would be fired by the end of the day, telling people nearby that she would ruin those responsible. For someone who publicly speaks about compassion, kindness, and emotional well-being, the contrast was impossible to miss. Those close to Harry say he tried to de-escalate, urging her to leave, to calm down, to stop drawing attention. But the outburst wasn't really about the store. It was about control slipping through her fingers. When brands stop accommodating, the illusion of influence collapses quickly, and Meghan, by multiple accounts, is struggling to accept that reality. This incident couldn't have come at a worse time. Financial pressure is reportedly mounting. Projects once expected to generate steady income have stalled or dissolved. Revenue streams have narrowed. Insiders say Meghan is increasingly anxious, constantly recalculating how to regain relevance before the silence becomes permanent. The push to reframe her narrative has become more frantic, more obvious. According to people familiar with her thinking, she desperately wants Netflix or Spotify to reconsider, to reopen doors, to validate that she still matters. But the industry mood has shifted decisively. Executives no longer see controversy as momentum. They see exhaustion. Meghan's repeated conflicts, public grievances, and legal disputes have made her radioactive. Instead of being viewed as disruptive in a productive way, she's now seen as someone who brings chaos without return. That's why talk has reportedly turned to relocation. Canada, Australia, countries she believes might still tolerate her presence. But private polling paints a grim picture. Public sentiment in both places is described as deeply negative. The goodwill she once relied on is gone. At the same time, European fashion doors are slamming shut. Paris fashion circles, already irritated by what they describe as gate-crashing and self-invited appearances, have drawn firm boundaries. Major houses are said to have quietly blacklisted her entirely. Not debated, not negotiated, simply agreed upon. The assessment is shared and consistent. Too disruptive, too controlling, too self-focused. Stories circulating inside the industry are relentless. One account describes Meghan screaming at a staff member for bringing her coffee instead of green tea. Not a polite correction, a public dressing down. According to those familiar with the incident, the staffer quit the following day. Whether exaggerated or not, insiders say it fits a pattern they've heard repeatedly. That pattern is what's destroying her standing. Publicly, Meghan speaks about kindness and mental health. Privately, stories of explosive behavior keep surfacing. Humiliated, staff afraid to speak up. Each story alone could be dismissed. Together, they form a reputation that no luxury brand or studio wants to inherit. And now, even Harry appears to be nearing a breaking point. People close to him say he's finally beginning to understand what he's lost. His family, his home, his identity. He reportedly speaks nostalgically about life in the United Kingdom, about the simplicity of his former routine, about how everything spiraled after leaving. According to sources, he's told friends that the decision was a massive mistake. There are whispers that Harry is considering reaching out to the palace quietly, not publicly, not defiantly, asking if there is any path back, any mercy, any chance to rebuild something resembling stability. But those same sources say the biggest obstacle isn't the palace, it's Meghan. Multiple people describe a dynamic where Harry defers constantly, where he avoids confrontation, where he lowers his head and walks away when Meghan lashes out in public. There are repeated accounts of him standing beside her as she berates staff or strangers, visibly uncomfortable, saying nothing. One source described it as watching someone disappear in real time. As the Chanel blacklist holds firm, Paris remains closed, brands continue to distance themselves, and financial pressure intensifies, Meghan is facing a reality she has never truly encountered before. There may be no one left willing to protect her. No institution left willing to absorb the damage. No ally left powerful enough to override consensus. And this time, outrage isn't opening doors. Accusations aren't shifting power. Silence is winning. Because in the worlds Meghan once relied on, fashion, entertainment, royalty, silence doesn't mean confusion. It means a decision has already been made.